Unprofitable questions. Should anyone say that he does not wish to lead the holy life under the Blessed One, unless the Blessed One first tells him whether the world is eternal or temporal, finite or infinite, whether the life principles identical with the body are something different, whether the perfect one continues after death, and so on? Such a man would die ere the perfect one could tell him all this. Well, the sent ones, the avatars, the Rasulullah, whatever you want to call them, they're supposed to be perfected individuals. But the point is, they're trying to convince you of what is the right consciousness, what is the right action. Sure, different justifications are brought up, but people try to make it about their questions being answered. And in due time, if you pay attention and all that, the right questions will be answered. It is as if a man were pierced by a poisoned arrow, and his friends, companions, or near relations should send for a surgeon. But that man should say, I will not have this arrow pulled out until I know who the man is that has wounded me, whether he is a noble, a priest, a citizen, or a servant, or what his name is, and to what family he belongs, or whether he is tall or short or of medium height. Verily, such a man would die ere he could adequately learn all this. Therefore, the man who seeks his own welfare should pull out this arrow of lamentation, pain, and sorrow. For whether the theory exists or whether it does not exist, that the world is eternal or temporal or finite or infinite, certainly there is birth, there is decay, there is death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair, the extinction of which, attainable even in this present life, I make known unto you. There is, for instance, an unlearned worldling, void of regard for holy men, ignorant of the teaching of holy men, untrained in the noble doctrine, and his heart is possessed and overcome by self-illusion, by skepticism, by attachment to mere rule and ritual, by sensual lust, and by will. And how to free himself from these things he does not really know. Self-illusion may reveal itself as eternalism or eternity belief, i.e. the belief that one's ego is existing independently of the material body and continuing even after the dissolution of the latter, or as annihilationism, or annihilation belief, i.e. materialistic belief that this present life constitutes the ego, and hence that it is annihilated at the death of the material body, not knowing what is worthy of consideration and what is unworthy of consideration. He considers the unworthy and not the worthy. Well, your mental construction of consciousness can go on, but again, I'm thinking that this ego thing is the 5 false egos that are previously referred to. And unwisely, he considers thus, have I been in the past, or have I not been in the past? What have I been in the past? How have I been in the past? From what state into which state did I change in the past? Shall I be in the future, or shall I not be in the future? What shall I be in the future? How shall I be in the future? From what state into what state shall I change in the future? And the present also fills him with doubt. Am I, or am I not? What am I? How am I? This being, whence it has come, whither it will go. And with such unwise considerations, he falls into one or other of the 6 views, and it becomes his conviction and firm belief, I have an ego, or I have no ego, are with the ego. I perceive the ego. I perceive that which is no ego, R. He falls into the following view. This is my ego, which can think and feel, and which now here, now there experiences the fruit of good and evil deeds. This, my ego, is permanent, stable, eternal, not subject to change, and will thus eternally remain the same. If there really existed the ego, there would also be something which belonged to the ego, as, however, in truth and reality, neither the ego nor anything belonging to the ego can be found. Is it not, therefore, really an utter fool's doctrine to say, this is the world, this am I. After death, I shall be permanent, persisting, and eternal. These are called mere views, a thicket of views, a puppet show of views, a toil of views, a snare of views, and ensnared in the fetter of views, the ignorant worldling will not be freed from rebirth, from decay, and from death, from sorrow, pain, grief, and despair. He will not be freed, I say, from suffering. And our belief does affect us, but, not all convictions, judgments, opinions, whatever you want to call them, are equal.